This is a good little story.
It's only short. It's just Mara Nealon used to come in here in the evening, sit over here at the fire. How old was she, Jim, when she died?
Oh, gee, she must be nearly 90.
But she was a grand, sprightly kind of a woman till the end, and had all her, she was on the ball, and she swore that this happened when she was only a girl. She lived in that house her whole life, and she had older brothers and sisters. She was the youngest, and her mother...
Bridie?
Bridie. She was a well-known woman in the area, a widow woman. She was a bit of a character, a bit of a practical joker in beds, and Mara would say that when she was young, Bridie was always doing things on the older kids, hiding their clothes and all this. And she'd tell them old fibs about what a certain prospective boyfriend or girlfriend had said about them out on the road, or this about coming courting, or that. And she was always shouting from upstairs to this kid, "There's someone at the door!" She was always saying, "There's someone at the back door! There's someone coming up the path!" And there'd never be anyone there. And people got used to her, that she liked her joke. And Mara used to say that one Saturday evening, back in about 1910 or 1911, the older ones were getting ready to go out for a dance or whatever was happening. And the mother, Bridie, came down the stairs and said, "Did no one get to the door?" And they were all, "Oh, here we go, But Bridie came down and opened the door. And there was nobody there. And she didn't say anything. And she wasn't making a big thing about it, And Mara said she was only young, but she knew there was something wrong. She wasn't cracking the jokes. And later, when the others were all out, it was just her and her mother sitting at the fire. And her mother was very quiet. Normally, she'd send Mara up to bed early enough, like. But Mara said she remembered this night because her mother didn't send her up. She wanted someone with her, you see. And in those days, Valerie, as you know, there was no electricity out here. And there's no dark like a winter night in the country. And there was a wind like this one tonight, howling and whistling in off the sea. You hear it under the door, and it's like someone singing in under the door at you. It was this type of night now. Am I setting the scene for you? Finbar's looking a bit edgy there. You want to finish that small one, I think.
Don't mind my small one. You're making very heavy weather of this yarn, Jack.
You have to enjoy it now. You have to relish the details of something like this, huh? So there they were, just sitting there. And Bridie was staring into the fire, a bit quiet, and smiling now and again at Mara. But Mara said she could see a bit of wet in her eyes. And then there was a soft knocking at the door. Someone at the front door. And Bridie never moved. And Mara said, "Will I get the door, Mandy?" And Bridie said, "Oh, no, sure. It's only someone playing a joke on us. Don't mind them." So they sat there. And there was no more knocking for a while. And in those days, there was no kitchen. Where the extension is, Valerie, that was the back door, and only a little latch on it, And that's where the next knocking was. Very soft, Mara said, and very low down the door. Not like where you'd expect a grown man or a woman to be knocking up here, And again, Bridie was saying, "Oh, no, it's only someone having a joke. They'll go away." And then it was at the window. Mara couldn't see anything out in the night, and her mother wouldn't let her go over. And then it stopped. But when it was late and the fire went down, Bridie wouldn't get up to get more turf for the fire because it was out in the shed. So they just sat there until the others came back well after midnight.
What was it?
Well, Mara said her mother never told the others, and then one day, when it was only the two of them there, a priest came and blessed the doors and the windows. And there was no more knocking then. And it was only years later that Mara heard from one of the older people in the area that the house had been built on what you'd call a fairy road. Like it wasn't a road, but it was like...
It was like a row of things.
Right, like... From the fort up in Brendan's top field there. Then the old well. And the abbey further down. And into the cove where the little pebbly beach is there. And the legend would be that the fairies would come down that way to bathe, you see. And Mara Nealon's house was built on what you'd call that road.
And they wanted to come through.
Well, that'd be the idea. But Mara never heard the knocking again, except on one time in the 50s when the Weir was going up. There was a bit of knocking then, she said, and fierce load of dead birds all in the hedge and this. But that's it. That's the story.